This conference will now be recorded.
All right, Ms. Brody?
Yeah.
Ms. Brody, just need to ask, you'd like to participate in this meeting tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. And your reason for not being here?
It's medical.
Okay, all right. Mr. Hardeman, would you like to participate?
Yes, sir. I'm on my way. I'll be there in person in about 15 minutes.
Okay, well, we still want you to I know you're en route, so we're just going to invite you into the meeting now. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right. By roll call, I'd like uh, to vote in favor of admitting Ms. Brody and Mr. Hardeman into the meeting. Do I have a motion of approval?
So moved.
Okay. So moved by Mr. Parker. Second by Ms. McCray. Okay. All right. By roll call, Mr. Jackson.
Aye.
Mr. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Ms. McCray.
Aye.
Ms. Pitchford.
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. Ms. Brody and Mr. Hardeman are part of the meeting. Thanks. Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Carter.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Slid right in. Are you in favor? Thank you. All right.
All right, thank you, thank you, thank you. Next on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from March, that would be March 18th.
All righty.
Hopefully everyone has had an opportunity to read through the minutes. Have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from March 18th.
All
We have a
right,
second.
Second.
Second, Ms. McCray. Okay. All right. By roll call, Mr. Jackson,
aye.
Mr. Parker,
Aye.
Ms. Brody,
Aye.
Mr. Hardeman. Okay, he's in
Aye.
transit, right? All right, perfect. Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Lewis, Ms. McCray,
Aye.
Ms. Pitchford.
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it. Minutes are approved. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, sir. Next on our agenda, we have citizens' comment period. Ms. Jackson, I understand we have what, three citizens who signed up. So what we want to do is share with you the rules of the road, if you will. If you are here and you've signed up for citizens' comments, there is a clock over there. Each person will have 3 minutes to state their reason for wanting to speak. And the only thing we ask is treat everyone in the room the same way that you would request to be treated. And so that being the case, I had the first person as DC. Is there a DC either with us in person or online? All right, DC, calling you again. All right, one last time. We have DC. Okay. All right, seeing as though DC is not here to make a comment, we're going to move on to the next person, and that would be Dale Reed. Good evening. Ms. Reed, if you would like to, is there a microphone at the podium? Okay, good enough. Good evening, Ms. Reed.
Is this on? Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. It's an unfortunate reason why I find myself here tonight. My name is Dale Reed, and I've practiced law in Virginia for the last 30 more years. I have the honor of serving as the manager of housing law for Central Virginia Legal Aid. I supervise a team of 14 dedicated advocates, including 9 attorneys, serving 15 localities, including the city of Richmond. City of Richmond is predominantly where we do most of our advocacy work, where we do most of our litigation. I believe that our goals at Central Virginia Legal Aid align with Richmond Redevelopment and Housing Authority. We're trying to help tenants stay housed. We're trying to help them improve the quality of their housing. We're trying to protect them from lockouts and other illegal activities by landlords or any other problems that they face. I believe that this aligns well with what I see on RRHA's websites, what I know from your advocates, and what I know from your voucher team, your public housing team. I'm here tonight to try and address an ongoing problem that we've not been able to address at the legal compliance level or the executive level, and that is that your staff will not communicate with us. They will not answer our emails. They will not answer our mail. And unfortunately, I've had to speak to all my attorneys about how often have you tried to contact and how often have you been denied or just simply been ignored, and it's bad. And so I'm not here to assess blame or to complain with no solutions. I'm asking for the Board of Commissioners to help us with a solution. We want to advocate for tenants. We don't want to see tenants lose vouchers. We don't want to see landlords get fed up and not want to rent to voucher tenants anymore. I've asked my staff, are you clear about the ask? Are you giving adequate time to get a response from someone? Are you suggesting, hey, do you need a formal FOIA request? Do you need a written letter? I'll do that for you. And I've looked at all of their communications, and I think they're doing the best they can to try to get a response from some type of legal staff. Sometimes it's one document that we can't find that the tenant is asking us for, and we're trying to advocate for them. We don't have a problem with this in any of the other localities that we serve with other public housing authorities. I know that this is the largest, it's the busiest. I know what it means to be overworked, to serve a difficult population, to be short-staffed, have too many emails. But what we would like to do is hopefully resolve something with your help,
Ms.
with your
Reed, you have
executive
14 seconds.
to come to some solution that will help us all help tenants, that doesn't involve litigation, so that we can work together to serve the people that we're all trying to serve.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Reed.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to assure you, as I'm here with my colleagues, other commissioners of the board, as well as joining us online, that client services, customer relations, whatever it's tag phrased, is extremely important to us. And yes, we are on the same side. And so I have our CEO follow up with you. The information that we have for your contact, I believe that's correct, right?
Said I bought some business cards. I'm happy to give out my cell phone number. We just want to resolve it.
Okay,
That's all
all
we want
right.
to do.
All right, if you would, please leave me one of your cards.
All right.
Thank you. So next we have Ms. Cora Hayes. Ms. Hayes, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So Ms. Hayes, you now have 3 minutes and the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. First of all, my first issue that I want to discuss is when will the Property Management Committee meet? I signed up for the last one and that meeting was postponed. And I would like to know when is the next meeting scheduled so I can speak. And then my second issue is I submitted a FOIA for a resident in public housing on the 10th of March. And as of today, I have not received the information that was requested in the FOIA. And the FOIA was about the tenant council slate of offices in Fairfield Court. But the FOIA that I submitted outlined all of the information that is requested and should be released.
Okay. Ms. Hayes, you still have more time. I just want to make certain that you're aware of that and if there's anything else that you want to share with us before I respond.
Oh, yes. What I would like to say, I thank you for allowing me to attend the community engagement that you had a couple of weeks ago over at Mount Moriah. I was very pleased at what I saw, and I can't wait for the redevelopment to start. It's going to be good for the residents.
Amen. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. As pertains to your concern, so our chief compliance officer, I've just been told our chief compliance officer is aware and will be responding to you as it pertains to the FOIA request. And now for property management, we provided all the community and public notices that we have rearranged our committee meeting assignments. But our property management meeting, we failed to have a quorum. And so it was decided by the chairperson of that committee that we would not meet during the month of March. And so there will be a property management meeting barring that we do have a quorum in May. In May, my apologies. Do we have the specific date for that in May? May the 28th. Thank you. Did you get that, Ms. Hayes?
Yes. At what time?
5:30.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
You're welcome. And so we've completed that section of our agenda and we're going to continue to move along. Our next is chair updates. I'll be brief, but I just wanted to first and foremost say thank you to my colleagues, the commissioners. I know that each one of us, we have families and we have obligations, but I definitely want to thank you for your attendance this evening. I want to thank you for your participation in our special board meeting. I know when we have a need and we're asked to come out and meet in additional nights that aren't on the schedule, it can be tasking. But I want you to also know that we are grateful. Your concerns are heard and we are working efficiently so that we can provide a better service to those that we provide oversight to in the authority. Secondly, I want to share something. I'm a bit premature, but I'm very excited on a document that helps. And I'm trying to align this as the chairman's focus or desired focus for our board of directors, our commissioners board. It's nothing new. It's a lot of what we have been focusing on, and we have gained a significant amount of traction over the last 4 years. And I'm sure our CEO would say 3.5 years, but this month marks my 4th year. And so I want to collect on all of the time spent. That will be sent to each commissioner before our second retreat which is proposed for May 16th. Is that correct? And so I'm going to send that to you all for your consideration and your input so that we can align ourselves together and with the mission of the authority. All right. And finally, my last chairman comment is one that I'm very encouraged by as we move toward an official agreement with the city of Richmond, the MOA, for the redevelopment of Gilpin and the larger Jackson Ward proper, if you will. It's going to require that we have an open level of communication with our city council. And so that has already started. You know, it's a good practice anyway, because we align ourselves with the city, the values, and we are one of the resources for the citizens of the city. Although more often than not, folks look at us just as the big six. And so I've had increased conversations and meetings with city council members. And so that our lines of communications are open and we understand their desires, and appreciate their collaboration. And so look to have more consistent reporting of our progress with our partners to be. So that encourages me, and it's moving in the direction that we had hoped when the mayor proposed this partnership. So that wraps it up for chair comments. Next, we'll hear from our CEO and agency updates.
Thank you, Chair Jackson. Start off, I'm gonna see if I can get through this and do what some call in the newspaper business a lightning round. So the first item under my portion is the CEO agency and the Board of Commissioners. You all last year gave me a set of goals and objectives to complete, and they were bold. And I submitted the document to all of you per my commitment. I think it was end of November last year. Just to let you know, I'll be resubmitting that to, as lawyers say, to refresh your recollection as we move into the governance committee later this month. And so again, I'll be resubmitting that to all of you. I think of the goals and objectives you all gave me, I think I got 80% of them accomplished. Some were carryover items, and I look forward to meeting with you, Chair, and the Chair of the Governance Committee, Commissioner Elliott. Next item on the agenda is resident and community engagement. We decided that we would keep this as a standing item on the agenda. It's a way to bring the commissioners and the public who join this meeting to let them know about things that we're doing in the community. And so many of us do spend a lot of time in the community, and we believe that it's important that, again, the board members know what's going on in the community and those in the public. And so from time to time, Mr. Chair, we may not have an item to discuss, and I'm going to always defer to that to Ralph Stuckey. So accordingly, Ralph, do you have anything to share?
Absolutely. Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity to recognize some of the outstanding work that the resident services team, in spite of myself, are doing. So a couple of things that's taking place. So I'll start with, this is scholarship season. And so we actually have a young man who's competed with students across the state of Virginia for the Virginia Association of Housing and Community Development Scholarship. He will be recognized on Tuesday at Virginia Beach at the state conference. He is Mr. Travion Johnson out of Mosby Court. He is a collegiate graduate. I don't know if that you're making that connection, right? We have a partner who works with our families who give them an opportunity to go to schools outside of the city. This is a private high school. He has a 3.54 GPA. He's been accepted at the North Carolina A&T, Louisiana State University, LSU, VCU, Hampton, and ODU University. He's plans to pursue engineering. And so that's really exciting about our students. As you know, in July, actually, we will have our village celebration where we recognize so many of our seniors who's going off to college and doing other things. But I wanted to also just kind of piggyback on that. We have a young lady who's been with us for some years, and this is for Commissioner Johnson. She started with us maybe 5 or 6 years ago in the Youth Leadership and Employment Academy, the CEO's Youth Leadership and Employment Academy 5 or 6 years ago. And she will be graduating. She started with us as an 8th grader. She will be graduating from Virginia Union University. And she sent over a note to one of the a text to one of the staff person, letting them know how excited she was. And it reads thus: "Good morning, Ms. Stokes. Hope you're doing well. I have some really good news. I got an email saying I was selected as one of the president's top 13 graduates for the class of 26 at Virginia Union University. It is an honor they give for academic excellence and leadership, and I will be meeting and having lunch with the university president before graduation. I am really proud and thankful for all the support you've given me along the way." Because one of the things that we do is we just don't drop our kids off at college. We continue to work with them, nurture them, and develop them all the way. And so that is really exciting for her. And so we're really excited about that. On Saturday, April 25th, we're going to have a STEM event at Wickham Court, started at 11 o'clock. And we're also recruiting for our Summer Youth Leadership and Employment Academy. Also, this is Youth Violence Prevention Month. And because of some of our programs, we've been invited to a number of events across the city. We actually have parents who will be meeting with the mayor to talk about positive youth development and the activities and programs that have kept their children safe and moving forward. We also will be invited to a conversation at Armstrong High School with a group of students from the Attorney General's office. He will be hosting an event with former Mayor Stoney to talk to those students and encourage and inspire them to continue to move forward. And then finally, we will be hosting an event at Hillside with a group of students who will be focusing and talking about activities and programs that continue to keep them in what they need to stay positive and moving forward from the community. So we're excited about all these opportunities that we're actually been invited to present with and to share with. And we're really proud of our youth, our adults, and also extremely excited about and just know the work that the staff is putting in on a regular basis, keeping their head down, not looking for recognition, but just doing a good job and serving the families. In spite of me, they're still doing a good job. All right. So just want to thank you all, just keep you informed. And that's just kind of preempt for next month for the scholarship program. We're going to be asking for support. It would be great if we could get enough money to start what we call a commissioner scholarship, where we give out a scholarship each year in the name of our commissioners. It'll be the commissioners. It'll be the only one in the nation, the first. And we could take that all the way to some of the national conferences. I think $10,000 a year would be a good start for a commissioner scholarship. Hey, it's 10 of you guys, it's what, 9 of you guys? Add Mr. Nesmith, 9.5. So we're excited about that, and we're excited about all the things that partnerships and relationships that we're developing to serve our families. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph, for all your hard work and your team. The next item that's coming up that's on the agenda is the Board of Commissioners upcoming retreat. The good news, we do have a quorum. We're not going to change the date again. Thank you for all the commissioners who have responded in the affirmative yes that you will attend. I'm going to turn it over to Kim to say a few words about what the commissioners can expect.
We have a highly interactive day planned for the commissioners. We're trying to keep it, while we had an awesome time spending the entire day with you a few months ago, we're going to try to keep it a little under that time to be as productive as possible. It's going to be fun. We're going to get some great ideas from folks. More staff will be involved. We're going to be covering all 4 of the goals. We spent a lot of time on development at the first retreat. The second retreat will cover the remaining 3 goals. So just looking forward to it and glad we've confirmed a date.
Thank you, Kim. Another item, Mr. Chair, that I do not have on here, I pledge to keep it short, is that 2 weeks ago, we had a very, very positive meeting with Police Chief Edwards and all of his officers that patrol the Big Six and our 6 senior sites. We also had, I spoke to our Commonwealth Attorney, and she had her top person here as well. Lastly, we had the gentleman, Greg, who heads up the mayor's new office of gun violence prevention, and we had Century Force here. What was the purpose of that meeting? The purpose of the meeting is to find some, because we've had, obviously, unfortunately, some unfortunate folks pass away in our communities, and to better coordinate with RPD, looking at hot spots, soft spots, figuring out what Century Force, our team, can focus on to create even a better environment where our residents live. We see now there's a proliferation of illegal cars being parked. I'm getting those emails from residents. Dogs that are in violation of the lease, and a number of things. And so we're going to be, I'll be coming back to the board next month, and we'll be presenting a new and enhanced security and enforcement strategy. The good news, Mr. Chair, we have found some revenue to help implement that, and we will come back and let you know about that. But I want to add that one. That item was not on the agenda, but so important. Next item on the agenda is the introduction of our new chief financial officer. His name is David Reckes. David come to us from the city. He was the number 2 person in the finance department at the city of Richmond. And I have to say this, David, Commissioner Lewis, you'll get to know him. I know y'all have had some time to get to know each other. He'll probably tell you he played Division I basketball, but that's something between he and I. But David, and he went to a big school, so he says better school than mine. But so that everyone knows, David played Division I hockey. In order to get him here, he said, you're going to have to get on the phone and tell my wife that in each of the Big Six, we will build a hockey ring. And so I did it. No, in case the media is listening, I didn't make the promise, but it's funny, and we had a good time. And I would like for a new CFO. And by the way, I have to say, he's been, the short time he's been here, you can say how long you've been here, we've been lucky, Mr. Chair, to have Sig, like with our other chief financial officers, with Fabio when he came in, when Precious came in. Of course, Sig mentored Precious from New Orleans. And so David will have the benefit of Sig's transition and tutelage. But let's have our new CFO say a few words.
Well, thank you very much. Again, my name is David Reckes. As Mr. Nesmith said, I came from the city of Richmond, where I was there for, I don't even know, for 4.5 years or so as a senior deputy director of finance for the city. Before that, I had spent a number of years in higher education, working with large community colleges, small private liberal arts colleges, and here at VCU. So I was very excited to see this opportunity, very excited to have the ability to come in here and learn something new. I've been working in finance and the reporting and typical accounting side. So that is nothing new to me, but coming in and working with HUD and the special requirements that they have has been very enlightening here over the past roughly month or so. And I am very thankful to have Sig and Mike Kelly here to kind of help guide and educate me in the ways of HUD. So thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
David, welcome. Welcome on behalf of the Board of Commissioners. We welcome you. Look forward to working with you. Sig's a tough act to follow. Much success to you, high expectations, and let's go. And if my colleagues want to state anything or say anything to our new CFO?
I just want to say welcome, welcome.
I just want to say where there is debit, where there's a debit, there's a credit. One-on-one accounting.
And one of the things is that David is a certified CPA as well. So that's an added benefit. We're going to tee this up in a moment. You're going to see two videos. One of the things that we've been told to do, and I've been visiting recently with some of the leaders in the affordable housing community, and I've told them about some of the things we've accomplished, Chair Jackson, over the last 3 years that I've been here with the board's help, prodding, and leadership. And what this person said was, more than one of them, you got to get that story out. You can't wait to have a press conference and have an event and think that. So we're going to be looking at alternative mainstream media. I did have the opportunity 2 weeks ago to go before the entire editorial board of Richmond Times-Dispatch and talk to them about, in real ways, some of the things that we've been doing. And then given that we don't have the free press, there's a place for the opportunity for them to stand in that preach. They were impressed with things that we've accomplished. We know we have much more to do operationally and everything, but we have to tell our story. We have done, the team have done, despite, as Rob Stuckey say, despite me as CEO, the team has done a lot. We've accomplished a lot, and I'm at metrics and data. And so we're going to use a number of things with Angela Fountain to get our message out of what we have accomplished, because folks don't know, because we have a lot of folks out there saying what RRHA has not accomplished and what RRHA is not doing. I've been meeting with a bunch of folks in the affordable housing community. They've said, really, you need to get the message out. And so we're going to show an example of just some of, we're going to use some TV stars, the chair and the vice chair, to help us. This is a snippet of what they'll be doing. So we can play the first one and then play a second, please.
Will we come back to the financial report?
Yes, we will. Absolutely. We would not do that. While we're waiting, let's take use of the time. Let's go to the next item on the agenda, because I don't want to do the financial report yet, Sig, because they would have to change up the screen. So let's go to the next item on the agenda. While they're figuring that out, you ladies, if you can continue to figure that out. The next item on the agenda, we'll come back to the financials, is highlighting Fair Housing Month, which is this month, and property management training. And for that, I'll go to Patrick.
Good evening, commissioners. So April is Fair Housing Month, and Calandra Trotter, our VP or AVP for Housing Compliance, has taken on the lead of ensuring that the agency is highlighting fair housing and fair housing activities, particularly the law and the requirements. And so she's been leading staff activities and engagement regarding fair housing. She's also been highlighting some of the compliance issues that come up. But I do want to turn it over to her to talk about some of the training that her and Denise Webb are conducting with our property management staff and HCVP staff to do kind of quick refreshers throughout the month of what the Fair Housing Act requires. And this is in addition to the 8 hours of fair housing training that all staff are required to take each year. So they just wanted to use this opportunity to do a refresher for staff. So, Calandra?
So, Ms. Denise, please feel free to chime in. Good afternoon, good evening, commissioners, staff, and our guests. As Patrick stated, RRHA staff has completed a required 8-hour fair housing training facilitated by the Fair Housing Institute, and that will continue annually. As a spinoff from that, we have created internally our own compliance corner, which touches on topics that our staff is dealing with every day to ensure that the agency's policies and procedures outlined in our administrative plan and our admissions and continued occupancy policy they're familiar with them, they're comfortable with carrying out the processes in their day-to-day. So monthly, we have compliance corner trainings on various topics just to ensure that staff is comfortable or to answer questions. We conduct work sessions with staff and things of that nature. So we'll continue to do that to keep staff at the top of their game, for lack of a better word.
Get a big thumbs up from our Chief Compliance Officer there. So thank you, Ms. Trotter, and thank you, Ms. Webb, for your collaboration and helping us to be held accountable and keep what's important. Our community of employees, our team. So there we go.
So in the interest of time, I think the lady's still having some complications here. Let's go right up to, can we put the financials up and we'll just skip past? If not, I want to go right to, again, in the interest of time, let's go to the next item of the agenda. This is a really, really, really big item that I think many of the boards, the commissioners have been waiting for. And that is that RRHA has its own new job contracting system. And this was a big deal, as former Vice President Biden used to say. I'm gonna turn it over to Mike Kelly to talk about it. Maybe Colleen.
Commissioners, public. On the board agenda this evening is a resolution authorizing the chief executive officer to negotiate and execute job order contracts. Vice President Procurement and Contract Administration, Colleen Orsini, will discuss our procurement process to this procurement, as well as the various authorizing authorities and Section 3 requirements. But prior to turning it over to Colleen, I want to share with you a little bit about the history of and what is job order contracting. It was initially developed in the early 80s by NATO at the Supreme Headquarters, Adelaide Powers in Belgium, to address inefficient procurement for renovations that they wanted to do in Europe. It was designed to replace slow traditional design, bid, build methods with a fast-track task-based system, which is the basis of JOCs. The traditional system is, if you want to build a treehouse, you get a design for it, have a contractor bid on that design, review the responses from the procurement, and then go ahead and contract with the contractor to get that built. This is a system in which it fast tracks that. And I'll share with you in just a second how that works. After the development of NATO, it was adopted by the U.S. Army, and particularly around housing, believe it or not, that the Army wanted to build housing. And so consequently, it was a way of getting a lot of housing built in a very expeditious manner for the procurement of it. It was expanded in the late 90s to be non-Department of Defense agencies, particularly the General Service Administration adopted it as a way of recognizing it and actually putting in guardrails about ensuring that there be legal and budget requirements that are baked into the system. Today, it's early on it was just a paper-based system, but now through software, the particular items are identified. I like to use the example of a 3068 hollow solid core door. We tell the contractor, this door is going to cost you $100. You don't tell us how much it's going to cost you. We're going to tell you how much it's going to cost. And if you want to bid and work with us, you have to accept that price. The contractor in turn puts his overhead and profit sort of margins on that. And so that's how simplistically, that's how this system works. Again, in essence, it's a indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract designed to speed up construction by providing on-call contractors with this predetermined cost list I just talked about, called a construction task catalog, to calculate what the base costs are. We are in a situation now where we have a lot of items under the heading of preventive maintenance, roofs and plumbing and underground piping, and things that right now, if we were to go through the traditional methods of finding designs, getting it bidded, et cetera, per item, it would take us a very long time. This system will allow us to do a lot of this work in a very, very expedited fashion. So before turning it over to Colleen, any questions about the definition of that? Hopefully it's one in which I give an overview anyway.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just have a question. So read that it's $1 million of the total vendors up to 10. What time period?
I'm going to turn this over. That's the resolution itself. I'm going to turn over to Colleen right now. But in terms of just the general system, does the board have any questions about that? Okay. With that, then, I'd like Colleen, could you please kind of give an overview of the procurement and include Commissioner Lewis's question? Okay. Thank you.
So this went out our standard procurement procedures. We use those for to send out this solicitation. We did receive 33 responses to this, and so overwhelming response. We did have a couple of vendors that bid on multiple times because they had to bid under each category. Like we had one person or one company that bid under mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and general contracting, so anyways, that like I said, we had the 33 responses, and we had to hold on, my brain just went dead on me, but we did it like that. And so what to Commissioner Lewis's question, that's the state regulation. We can assign a contract no more than $1 million to a contractor, but we cannot exceed $10 million over all contractors for a period of time. Yeah, so that's what that means. So all contracts have to be under $1 million, but we cannot exceed $10 million over a year period.
So it's not time limit, it's just until you reach the max.
Correct. I mean, it'll still be, because we can only do contracts for a year. And then the contracts we can only renew up to 4 years, because that's another state regulation as well. And so then we'll have to put it back out for bid when that time is up.
Yes, sir.
So I remember us talking about this like a year or so ago. Did
Mm-hmm.
we already do something like this, or is this the first one that we've done?
So we had talked about doing it,
Yeah.
but then we had to pull it back because we didn't think quite ready for it at that time. And so now we've finally, got everything in place as far and feel that, we can move on now.
Okay. And will we need to re-adopt a resolution like this every year for the
Yes.
cycle?
Yes.
And Mr. Chair,
Yes,
if
sir.
I maybe just want, Commissioner Hardman, I think I may have mentioned this almost a year ago, actually, if you recollect this thing. We just did not have our administrative legs underneath this to be successful. Particularly under the leadership of SIG, our 5-year capital fund grant is now tight and clear of what we want to get done. Our work orders through the Charles and our property management, we have a better feel of what needs to be done and the priorities. Don has a staff now that has the capability of getting this done and having contractors hold contractors' feet to the fire. We just weren't ready. But I think we're finally in a position now to make this a successful program.
Yeah.
Any other commissioners have a question?
Hearing no questions, the last item under my report are our financials, and SIG, can you take us from there?
Thank you, and good evening, commissioners and the public and staff. I want to add that David had also an introduction with Commissioner Lewis, so they have met. And as we proceed through the onboarding, that's where we are onboarding. David is progressing nicely, asking all the right questions. They're buzzwords to my ears. I love them. It rings nicely. And we are progressing just the right way we need to. So I'm very, very happy about that. For the financials, to keep it brief, since we have still a big ticket item to get through the agenda, I want to focus please on page 2. And with that, I usually start out with the net operating income section year to date. Reminder, February is the 5th month of operations for this agency. And when you look at the budget, you can see in the budget line that we were projected for many of the line items to be in red, but you can see on the actuals, we're doing the opposite. We are actually in black. And the only program that is in red and is actually better doing in red compared to budget is the Housing Choice Voucher Administration portion. So we have $60,000, close to $60,000 that we're doing better than budgeted. So I can say overall, everybody is performing on target and doing much better than projected. To refresh memory, the COCC was budgeted for an annual deficit of $1 million. So was the RECD and the LIPH program. So about 3.7 million total. And you can see for 5 months, we really are $2.7 million ahead. So very good start, but we still can, we have to keep the eyes on the prize and have to be very concerned and conservative. I have shared with you before that the LIPH program, you can see the budget is at 495 and the actual at 438. We're slowly beginning to erode on that particular program because the proration is at 88%. We can feel it. This is the 2nd month because the funding is calendar year based. And so by about May or June, this actual in profit will actually diminish. And we're getting closer to the year end. And that is projected. So the goal would be for this program to really be at break even. And I also want to say the months of cash reserves, you can see here we eroded a little bit from the prior month. However, we are holding at 4 months, and that's what HUD is recommending for housing authorities to have. They've implemented new cash management policy, but not updated their regulation. So that's what we are doing. And the housing authority is eligible that when it falls in 3-month reserves, to put in a request for shortfall. So as discussed with Commissioner Lewis this afternoon, that when the shortfall horizon should arrive, we will not go to the RDC and get the deficit as budgeted and approved by the board, but instead we go to HUD and request what we are eligible for, which is requesting the shortfall coverage from HUD unless they deny us. So we do that first. That's the first strategy. So I wanted to add that as we keep watching this particular bucket. You can also see that everybody else, again, is doing fine. And I expect actually for the Housing Choice Voucher Program, for administration to not go into deficit, that we will be able to kind of hold. And as we recover with the increase of administrative fee that was approved for January, every year the rates change on the administrative fee because it has an OCAF, an adjustment inflation, an adjuster that goes up. HUD does their quarterly reconciliation for administrative fees quarterly. They just concluded September. The proration for the admin fee is at 89%. We budgeted at 91%, but we also had a much stronger utilization on that program. So I expect that program to be near actually break even or a smaller deficit than budgeted. We budgeted a $500,000 deficit, and I do not foresee to have that happen. So you can see everybody is projecting nicely. I want to skip the detail unless you have questions, because we also give you in your board packet the breakout by line items and major categories. Only the big, if you wanted to look at it, big picture, we were in the annual budget planned for a deficit of 3.7 million. After 5 months, we are ahead by 2.6 million. So really almost one half, 1.5, $1.6 million deficit for 5 months, but we are actually ahead. So this is very good as far as the outlook goes for the agency and the finances. And that is by everybody working with us, watching their buckets and making sure that the essential activities that we're planned for that are critical for the agencies are done, and other things that are not necessarily needed or price corrections are being performed. The payables report, which is on page 6, you can see that the payables increased, and that is for business activities related, and that is the RECD bucket. As you know, we have major renovation work that is being performed where Virginia Housing or other bills are being reimbursed back from those grants. So as those bills and invoices come in, they are being processed, and that usually will increase that particular accounts payables. But as you know, it ebbs and flows in accounts payables, but no concern. The cash flow is attached as well. So we had a small decrease of $200,000 in cash flow. And as discussed, we actually keep a rolling cash flow. We have that schedule available. We monitor it monthly, but we have a 12-month rolling cash flow schedule. So we are ahead of the curve to know what we believe is going to happen incrementally over the next few months. And we adjust that particular cash flow schedule every month as we close an accounting month. Okay. The audit, which is probably on your mind, is progressing as well. We are now discussing the additional entries needed for the notes receivable. So that will happen this week. The projected schedule for informing the board on the results of the audit are projected to meet the benchmark and present to you by mid-June. And the audit is due to HUD and in RRHA and the Federal Clearinghouse by end of June, June the 30th to be precise. That includes the financial statements and the A133 component. We also conducted today I did on the new cash management policy, which went in effect in January. What does that mean for HUD? Just briefly, so not to be overbearing here, but it just literally means you spend your own program income first, which is your rental income and all your miscellaneous income first, and then you spend and draw down the operating subsidy, but only up to the amount that you receive. And there's an expectation by housing authorities that they know the inflows and outflows on a monthly basis and book per consistent GAAP accounting. The deferred revenue that we were not entitled to, there is a 7-year reconciliation period for those federal funding dollars, and you can only literally draw down what's left over after program income. The reason why it's problematic for housing authorities, one, it's an administrative burden through staff having to do daily cash management and accounting of the dollars, which adds additional work. Secondly, because the funds that you can no longer add to your reserves, and that's why I take the position we are entitled to 4 months reserves, because that law has not changed and the directive has not changed, and our scoring has not adjusted. The financial component scoring for housing authorities is 25 points of the FALS score, and that has not adjusted by HUD. So a lot has to be worked out. But in the meantime, we have to conform, and that's what we are prepared to do, and staff has been trained. And that concludes my report, unless there's any questions.
Yeah, I do have a question, and
Yes, sir.
thank you, Sig. It's always good to feel stable, right? So if you had to give this report a grade, what would your basic grade be as it stands that you just reported on?
Do you mean in terms of quality of the accounting? Do you mean in
Overall
terms
shape.
of cash, overall shape? let me be carefully responding to this. Some of the numbers I quite frankly do not like.
Okay.
And it requires work. And I say this frankly because
Yes.
that's what you pay me to do.
Yes.
To be honest, it requires work in the sense of we're going through asset repositioning, creating transformation. Change can be costly and change can be a big headache. And when you change and you shift, staffing and your overhead structure will shift. I'm being honest. I'm
Yeah,
answering your
I
question.
expect nothing less.
And with that said, it brings challenges on how you now have to operate for the new because we are not continuing what we have. We're preparing for the new. And to be honest, any transformation that, quite frankly, I have performed in the past, they usually require frequent org chart adjustments. They require flexibility. They are stressful and they are costly to a certain degree because you have to build up and you have to have the resources to train your staff to be ready to take on these new tasks that have to occur. And when your reserves are not super stable in certain programs, they can be stressful. And having additional resources to make room for that, to have a cushion. For me personally, I like to have more fluff.
Okay. Okay.
But the Housing Choice Voucher Program and the LIPH program, they are always funded by HUD and they always have shortfall tools. And as long as the real estate is covered and we can go through those transformations and the timelines to help to not drain the resources for the existing stock that we have to get us through the process while you're losing subsidy is helpful. And you have to do constant monitoring on the books.
Okay. So would that be a C?
I would give it a C plus, not a C minus,
Okay.
a C plus.
Okay.
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis, I defer to the smarter people. You too, but what are your feelings?
I'm not the smartest person. No,
You're
no.
doing something for union.
No. So, yeah, Sid and I and David, we spent about half an hour or so together today, and I guess I would have been a little bit more generous. I would have said a B.
Okay.
Overall, that would have been my.
In terms of quality, we're A plus, Commissioner
There you
Lewis.
go. There you go. But I do have just a couple questions. On the tenant income, or rather I should say total income, actual is 46 million compared to a budget of 100 million. Overall, you're roughly at about 50%. When you look at grant and other income, it looks like you're 50, 51, 50, 52% through 5 months. But when you look at tenant income, 3.7 million, budget of 11 million, I guess that's about not maybe 34%. Do you see the agency reaching that 11 million?
$1 goal, no, it will not be achieved. The reason is vacancy, because we also have the eviction processes happening. And with evictions, you have turnover. And Mr. Don Mullins knows this well enough. And through the reshuffling in the capital fund program, we're spending a good amount of money on vacancy turns in order to actually rehouse and be able to pull from the wait list and put additional tenants in our units. So it's directly correlated to vacancies.
Okay. And then the only other question that I have is that if I look at the notes under RRHA budget variance, I'm not sure what page, but net income in the last four words is basically RDC. You're not looking at RDC for a budget deficit, but it says, but am I reading this right? You may to cover cash flow or RDC for a cash flow?
That is correct. So we borrowed in January 900,000. So as through resolution approval, when there is a pinch, a crunch time, we are able to borrow or reach into the RDC for about $1 million. We expect to repay that end of April, and then we'll come back to the RDC. So I do not expect having to cover from the RDC's cash any budget deficits, but only have the cash available to cover on occasion a cash float pinch. And the cash is replenished back when the cash is available. Because, for example, this month of April, all the insurance renewals are due, and they are over $500,000. So we are only able to draw 1/12 of our operating subsidy, and the majority of the insurance is actually for public housing. And so insurance is paid for 12 months, not as you pay as you go, like you can do on the private market for automobile insurance.
Right.
So it takes time, months, to recover from operating subsidy to cover that advance payment for the insurance coverage, for example. So a cash float is needed on occasion from that unrestricted fund pool.
Is the agency allowed to have a LOC?
A letter of credit?
Yeah,
A line of credit? A line of credit?
Yes.
So, well, I want to be careful with
Okay.
answering that question. The line of credit cannot be placed on federal programs
Correct.
because you need your funders' approval that you can have a line of credit. When you take a line of credit, you typically have to explain to why, and you have to demonstrate on the balance sheet or through time variances in your unrestricted buckets that you're able to repay the line of credit. So we could technically ask for a line of credit under the nonprofit without having to ask anybody, but we also need to have the vision and a timeline and a plan for how we are repaying the line of credit.
And that is correct. And if I may, Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
also, I'm in conversations and have been with Truist, one of our banks, about a line of credit. We're trying to figure out exactly how we will pay for that. I think we'll be coming to the board with a proposal on that, but we're working with the bankers on that.
Yes, sir.
And thank you for the tough questions.
Thank you, Sig. Commissioner Lewis asked about the tenant income. What's our collection rate currently?
So, good question. I appreciate it. We keep an eye on that as well. We are now set up in the accounting department to be able to explain to program. We are measuring actual cash receipts against revenue booked in the beginning of the month. As you know, the ACUP allows us to rent is due on the 8th of the month, and we checked and tested the numbers on the 14th of April yesterday. As of yesterday, we collected in cash 44%. That is a low collection rate. Therefore, we have to do more, but at month end, when we recheck the rate and close the books, we were closer. Last month, it was 70%.
And the other question, I just want to make sure I understand
Mhm.
HUD's new cash management process.
Mhm.
Not a finance person, so
Mhm.
I'm going to try and dumb it down a little bit. So basically, HUD is saying you have to spend all of your income that's not coming from us first before you draw down on the subsidy.
So what they're saying is subsidy is treated as a grant, and you are not allowed to use the grant money unless you have spent the money that you receive at the site level. So let me put it plainly. At Gilpin, if I collect $100,000 in rent, I have to spend that first. If Gilpin generates laundry money, other miscellaneous vending machine money, that money has to spend first. And then when I have no other monies coming in through leases or other avenues, then you have additional bills. You are permitted to go to your Gilpin letter of credit, the budget allowance, and draw down what you need to pay your bills for obligated expenses. So you cannot draw down more than what you have obligated for Gilpin, for example. And we have six, seven, 8, 9, going through the big sixes, the senior 7, 8. We have 8 amps that we draw funding down, and we have to do this by amp. Yes.
So that's preventing us from rebuilding reserves. Is that what you were
Correct.
saying?
They are slowly depleting the reserves and they're treating it exactly just like the Section 8 HAP program. You only get the money that you need to pay the landlords for the next month. With the exception, HUD has not changed the rule on the reserves yet, and that's why I take the position. We maintain the 4 months, and going forward in January, we follow cash management.
Yes, ma'am.
My question has to do with the Grace Place. Have we acquired any administration fees to add to our assets in the on our asset side of the thing?
So I'm glad that you asked, and I'm sorry that I skipped over that because the nonprofit brief is in there, and we had our nonprofit meeting yesterday, what I call the nonprofit, the RDC meeting. And East Grace Street, actually, we will receive by the end of this week the $500,000 that were in escrow. And we also do, to Ms. Sherrill, preparing the invoices for the carrying costs. We also will be receiving reimbursements for the carrying cost, and we'll book in the accounts receivable associated. So yes, we are receiving that full recovery. And then I don't know, our CEO, if you want to address the maybe the full transaction for the balance of the East Grace Street.
Sure. So we're looking to close on the transaction no later than first week in September. There's a possibility that we close on the transaction, we think the end of July, but typically at HUD, August is a slow month because of vacations, not because of fewer people. That's just, it is the way that HUD in the month of August. We are hopeful. We had a nice meeting with the owner, I mean, the putative purchaser and their finance folks. And so, yes, we hope to close on that the end of July, but no later than the first week in September.
Clarification on Gray Street, is that a, you made mention of an acquisition, but I thought that was a ground lease. Which is it?
It is a ground lease and we're capitalizing
I got you. Okay.
that, so you get a lump sum.
Yes, ma'am. What's the term on that lease?
We normally do 30 years, I believe.
Okay.
But I will double check that and verify. I want to do that.
Thank you.
And on that project, this is the last, we won't have any variances. It should pan out.
When you say variances, what do you do?
Yeah,
for-
that's okay.
We planned on receiving 5 million and we received the 500,000 this week. And the balance should come just as it is under agreement by, before we close our fiscal year, end of September. So a
Okay.
total of 5 million.
Okay, when I say
ma'am.
variance, that's what I was
Yes.
trying to.
Mhm. There will be no
break it.
reductions. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. No
That's what-
reduction.
Thank you. No more questions.
So is this the first capitalization or first amount that they submitted for consideration?
The 500,000?
Yes.
That was negotiated, yes.
Yeah, I negotiated
On
that.
the negotiation.
Because of the extensions, I said to them, I demanded that they take the $500,000 that was sitting in escrow because they weren't relying on it. They submitted to us ASAP.
Non-refundable
Right,
regardless.
Skin in the game. That's
Yep.
par for the course.
Yep.
So they're all in right now is $500,000 to us.
Yes.
As of
Non-refundable.
this coming Friday.
Mhm.
Correct.
So
And
no
including-
initial capitalization, and we're only getting capitalized for an extension. Is that correct?
Yes.
I was
And
under the
then-
impression that they were already ponied up a $500,000, and this would be $1 million, and $4 million would be the balance left.
So they put $500,000 to put in escrow, right? And then at closing, the $4.5 million will be paid to us.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions for our finance gurus?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I do have one other item. I didn't have my glasses on at my age. I found out I was a little older by my brother the other day. And my age, I was not wearing my glasses. We have one final item, is the annual plan update, which is extremely important. I'm going to turn it over to Kim Cole, Chief of Staff.
Thank you, Mr. Nesbitt. Does everyone have a copy of the PowerPoint deck? There should be a hard copy. We're going to put it on the screen as well, but I just want to make sure everyone has it. Yep, great. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. Then Ms. Jackson will catch up with me. All right. So the team is here this evening to share with the board proposed responses and policies related to the components of the annual plan with a full draft that's going to be submitted to the board this Friday for your review and comment. We're going out for public comment on the 27th of this month. So we want to hear back from the board before we put it out for public comment. And we ask that if you have any questions, in addition to any comments, we ask that you provide them to us by next Thursday. And we'll send out, all that detail will be a part of the email that we sent to you. So the team is here tonight. We've been working tirelessly over the past few months, pulling together the annual plan for FY27. I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Calandra Trotter, who has been shepherding this process, herding cats, our AVP of housing compliance, to kick off the discussion for the meeting this evening. We're also joined by several of our colleagues who are key contributors to the annual plan, along with their teams. Ms. Trotter.
Thank you, Ms. Kim. Just going through the deck that's in front of you, a little background on what the annual agency plan is for those who are new to the agency. It's a annual requirement by the that Housing Authority submit an annual plan outlining the agency's policies, programs, services, and strategies are planned for fiscal year 2027 to begin October 1st of 2026. In addition to board input and comments, this plan will also be presented to our resident leaders for their input as well, and ultimately to the public for comments. Elements of the plan consist of an HUD annual plan template, which we submit electronically, the approved annual agency plan from fiscal year 26, the agency's administrative plan, which outlines the housing trust voucher program policies and procedures, the admissions and continued occupancy policy, which outlines policies for the low-income public housing program, and the City of Richmond's consolidated action plan for 2026 to 2030 to ensure that our policies are in line. RRHA is designated as the standard performing housing authority. Our current ACC units for public housing are 3,245. For housing trust voucher program, 4,060, giving us a total combined units of 7,305. The first section in your basically your presentation is outlined as the annual plan is outlined. So the first section is revision of plan elements. So in the chart before you, you'll see several pre-populated areas where the housing authority must respond as to whether or not we're looking to revise these elements within our plan. And that's what staff will be speaking to this evening.
Some of the first things, main things that HUD asks us for is to identify strategies for addressing housing needs. And that comes from us doing an analysis of housing needs in the area. We do, it's a compilation of looking at census data, the American Census Survey, our waiting lists, looking at our properties in terms of our families who are currently living there. And we're looking at demographic information. We're also looking at household income, rental trends in the area. And so what we've come up with are those strategies that we have identified that need to be met and and they have guided us in terms of what we've identified in the plan for what we're going to be proposing to the board and to the public for 2027. You're going to hear how we're going to address these things in a number of ways as you hear staff present this evening. Those strategies are going to be around maximizing the number of available affordable housing units, enhancing housing, ensuring housing remains affordable, creating greater awareness of housing opportunities, and conducting activities to further fair housing. And you've already heard that we are dedicating a lot of time and energy, not just this month as Fair Housing Month, but over the course of the year and every year in terms of training staff, making sure that our citizens and our clients are aware of their fair housing rights. Next, we're going to move to financial resources or plan sources and uses. So this is one of those things where you kind of wonder what HUD might be thinking. What we typically submit in our annual plan is the approved budget from the previous fiscal year, because the budget cycle for Housing Authority is on a different timeline than the annual plan. So what will be provided in the annual plan for 27 is the approved budget for FY26. And what will happen is, as you know, you'll have the opportunity to review and approve our annual budget for FY27 in September of this year. But this annual plan has to be submitted by July 15th. Hence the fact that we actually include the FY26 budget as part of the annual plan.
Okay, as we move into operation and management, our largest department, assisted housing, our VPs will highlight proposed changes to program policy documents, as we mentioned, the administrative plan and the admissions and continued occupancy plan. Just an ongoing note, Housing Opportunities Through Modernization Act, also known as HOPMA. Basically, we're under the HOPMA now process. While there are many proposed changes to our public housing programs under HOPMA, not all of the requirements of HOPMA have been rolled out by HUD, but RRHA is in compliance through all of those requirements through July of 2025. So our ACOP and administrative plan do reflect the HOPMA now items and those items once they are approved and rolled out by HUD.
And I'd just like to add, if folks remember, the changes we made to the admin plan and the ACOP last year were voluminous, and that was because of the HOPMA requirements.
Mr. Williams is going to take it up for the ACOP.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to jump right into our ACOP changes, and our ACOP changes deal with our public housing operations. When you're working in affordable housing, there's so many different acronyms: HUD, RRHA, FOS, CMAP, and ACOP is another one of those acronyms. And what it stands for is our Admissions and Continued Occupancy Plan. It's basically the Bible for how we conduct business in public housing. We look at various areas from occupancy to leasing, maintenance, and reexamination. If you take a look at the screen, it shows you some of the proposed changes for our ACOP. We'll look at some of the policy areas, what the current ACOP says, and the proposed changes. I'll read a few of those for you. First one is the policy area is a notice of rental increase. The current ACOP says if the family resident rent changes, RRHA will notify the family of the new rental amount and the effective date by sending a written notification via email, Yardi system, and Rent Cafe portal. The proposed change will say the following: a written notification via email and Yardi Rent Cafe portal, unless mail copies are requested as a reasonable accommodation. The next area, policy area, is damage to the unit, damages to the unit. Current ACOP says if there are damages to the unit which are caused by the vacating tenant, costs to repair the tenant caused damage may be paid from the family's security deposit in accordance with applicable laws. The proposed change, if there are damages to the unit which are caused by the vacating tenant, including trash, furniture, etc., that left behind, the cost to repair the tenant caused damage and to remove any items left in the unit may be deducted from the family's security deposit in accordance with applicable laws. Any items left in the unit by the tenant will be assumed as unwanted and disposed of. The next area is unit repair and inspection. The current ACOP says if no one is home, the inspector will enter the unit, conduct the inspection, and leave a copy of the inspection report in the unit. The proposed change will say, and mail the tenant a copy of the inspection report within 3 business days of the inspection. A tag will be left on the door informing the resident RRHA staff has been in the unit. Some of the other areas that we will be addressing will be the maintenance call center hours. We will also take a look at transfer costs due to emergency conditions, reporting changes, and relocation, all of which are in your handouts. Those are some of the changes that we're proposing for the upcoming ACOP. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Charles. Ms. Mothers Hargrove?
I'm up next.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Good evening, guys. I am just going to give an overview of some of the changes that we are proposing for the administrative plan. Similar to what Mr. Williams stated about the ACOP for public housing, it's what the admin plan is to the Housing Choice Voucher Program. We do not have a lot of changes this year. What we did was we took the opportunity to expand upon some of the things that we already had in the admin plan already. So one of the areas that I wanted to kind of touch on, we touched on our recertifications and just that process. It speaks to the recertification interview requirement. We wanted to kind of narrow down on what that meant. Notifications of annual reexamination interviews may be sent in any of the following means: email, message via Rent Cafe portal, first class mail if it is requested. The notification will contain a website information and the due date. The due date for the annual reexamination will be 15 business days from the date of the initiated workflow. Again, we are still offering in-person opportunities for those families that would like to come in to have their recertifications completed in person, who just does not want to have anything whatsoever to do with the portal. We are there in person to be able to assist them. One of the things that we're adding is specific to termination of assistance. Currently, the policy states notices will be uploaded to the family's online resident portal using the most up-to-date email address that has been provided. We are adding wording that states that notices will also be printed and mailed via USPS to both participant and the property owner addresses on file. We hear our families, we hear our landlords, so we don't want to just put it in the portal. If it is going to terminate your assistance and affect the HAP, we're going to put it in the mail as well as upload it to your portal, just as an extra layer of, hey, this is what's going on with your account kind of thing. Another one, because I know we have been really heavy on the time, I've been listening to my landlord. So we have an area in there, request for rental increases by the landlord. Currently, the policy states if an owner wishes to request an increase in rent to owner from the owner from RHA, it must be requested at the annual anniversary of the HAP contract. An owner's request for a rent increase must be submitted to RRHA 60 days prior to the anniversary date of the HAP contract and must include new rent amount the owner is proposing. If you have multiple tenants and I got to keep up with everybody's anniversary date and effective date and the HAP contract date, we've had landlords that miss it by 2 days, by 3 days. And then they have to wait a whole year before they can request another rental increase. So I've been hearing them. They have been angry with me. So we have updated, and so we're proposing to change, change the timing of the owner initiated rental increase request from 60 days prior to the contract anniversary to once per calendar year, regardless of the anniversary date. You can ask once a year. Doesn't matter the anniversary date, the HAP contract date, you are allowed to ask at least once a year for that rental increase, and we will process it as an interim change for our HCBP families. I think those are probably like the key areas, the highlight areas that keen interest that most of our landlords and some of our families were looking on. But more questions, or I can pass it on.
I have a question. I know it's part of staff, but because the agency is in shortfall, are we able to really address all the increases? Should there be language included that is really subject to availability of HUD funding? Because HUD has demanded that housing authorities that are in shortfall have to live within the annual budget authority, and short-cutting measures have been, a directive has been given. So I'm just going to play devil's advocate and see that we have language that alludes to the fact that this is all subject to funding availability and authorization by HUD, especially when we are under cost-cutting measures.
I can absolutely add that, but I would like to say that one of the things we did add just ahead of where we currently are financially is that we put a cap on the request that landlords can ask for a rental increase. So once upon a time, they would ask for rental increases that were $700 and $800 at once in a dollar amount. We've capped that to 10%. So unless there has been major work done to the home, you've had to replace, the roof, there's HVAC or something like that going on, and you have to provide that additional information to go with that, to support that ask that you are currently asking for, then that's when we do reconsideration. But we did cap it, but I can kind of put something in parentheses to kind of protect us because we are currently in a shortfall as well.
And I would say, I think we're consistent in all of our messaging in terms of any decisions we make about increases are dependent upon funding availability. And I think it's a part of the HAP.
Okay, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we're going to move on to our last section of not the last section, but the last section related to those items where HUD's asking us, are there going to be any changes? And that is going to be led by Theo Reynolds. He's going to discuss our safety and crime prevention approaches.
Good evening, everybody, again. So with the Department of Public Safety, we are going to be looking at more crime reduction and enforcement strategies, as well as our security enhancements. With the security enhancements, we're looking at enhancing our cameras, our infrastructure, trimming down trees, as well as our cameras, our lighting, putting some lighting projects in. One of the initiatives that we did utilize was getting some funds from Department of Criminal Justice Services. So we're going to be doing some updating on lights, as well as some projects that the CEO and Mike Kelly and myself discussed in regards to getting our tip line, getting our message out in regards to see something, say something. We'll do more community engagement with our public safety department, as well as Century Force and RPD. Also having a better, stronger collaborative partnership with RPD, and also the new Office of Gun Violence Prevention and Intervention, as well as our community partners. So those are the things that we're going to be doing, as well as more awareness with our residents.
Next, we're going to look at new activities that the agency is proposing to undertake in the upcoming fiscal year. Ms. Hampton is going to address that.
Ms. Hampton is going to start, but we've got several new activities, and you're going to hear from some other staff as we go through this.
So if we could go to the next slide, please, Ms. Jackson. So I'm going to start with the Hope 6 or Choice Neighborhoods. We're really looking at Hope 6, which is our Blackwell project, which has been around for a while, but under the leadership of Mr. Nesmith, we feel Very confident that we will be hearing from HUD soon, but leading up to their final decision, they have given us some changes, and I'm just going to review those with you. One thing, and this is the 111 lots in the Blackwell neighborhood. Instead of 3 phases or 4 phases, it is now up to 5 phases to dispose of those 111 lots. 36 units will still be going to Maggie Walker and the 3 sub-developers. But because of the dorks on our property, our deeds of trust that HUD has, they have asked that we further delineate this into 5 phases. So that's what we're doing there. We're splitting that 36 into 2 phases. We will then, for phase 3, we will be going to just the 10 lots that have the deed of restrictions on them. And then we're going to break out phase 4 and phase 5 between the lots that don't have any dorks on them. But we're also being very mindful of gentrification and oversaturation. So that is the 5. And one of those phases is going to allow us to go to a workforce AMI. And what do I mean by that? Just higher, up to 120%. So we have submitted all of that. Mr. Nesmith did to HUD. That will be phased out once we get approval from them. We will begin some RFP and work in 2026. We've allowed for almost a 16-month, 18-month construction and sale period for those vendors. Can't really see so good. Now I'm going to mix finance and modernization or development. I'm going to start with, of course, Gilpin Court redevelopment, but we have the new activity of the bill first. It received the tax credits in July of 25, and we just had a very successful community engagement and resident engagement activity last month with that. And then we'll be also continuing to work with the CNI stakeholders as well as the city of Richmond. Another project besides that Gilpin Bill First project number 1 is the Gilpin Bill First project number 2. It is the former Fay Towers. We did an RFP. We would like to bring that plus the proposed terms for that project in May to you, to the committee, and then come to the board in June for your approval on that project. For demo dispo down there, we are hoping that we can start phase 1, but I don't see a project on here that I do want to talk about, Mosby Court. Ms. Jackson, if you'll go to the next slide, and it may not be there, but I do want to note that Mosby Court will probably come up before Gilpin Court phase 1. So I just want to make sure we're still under collaboration and dialogue with the city.
Yes.
So we are not addressing a phase 1 Gilpin now at all. We are trying to complete the work to bring later this year to you before the end of the year, hopefully Mosby Court South. Now on that last page, we're talking about converting. We have a proposed project that we will share with the real estate committee and board. We are looking at, and this is just proposed, but if it's going to be a new activity, we have to get it in the plan. We cannot do it if you all don't approve it, but you can't do it if it's not in the plan. So we have to put it in the plan as a proposed project. And these are the remaining senior sites. We have 4 remaining senior sites. As you are aware, there are 4 sites under renovation or modernization as we currently speak. 3, and 1 I believe is completed. But these are the remaining 4, and you see Blackwell Senior Cottages 1 and 2, Fox Manor and Decatur. And I know those residents are eagerly anticipating to hear from us as to what we're doing. But I just want to say, for any of the public listening or that's here tonight, there's a lot of work that goes into the planning before we bring something to the board for its consideration and approval. So those are our new projects there, and I will stop there. Thank you, Ms. Cole and Ms. Trotter.
Sure, we're going to move into the section of the plan where we have to provide an update or a progress report on certain activities related to things we've identified that we're going to do over the course of the year. I'm actually going to kick it back over to Ms. Hampton as we talk about our real estate development repositioning planning.
Okay. Thank you again. I stay excited about our work as it relates to real estate development. Wanted to update the board and our public and residents on that. We have just undertaken, as you all are aware, the comprehensive repositioning analysis or assessment that was brought to the board at the February 7th meeting. Now, that sets the basis for the plan that we want to bring back. But again, we have to put it in here, update it, show our progress. That was in the assessment, was in last year's annual plan. And so now we're looking at what we will undertake in 27. We do want to increase our asset management capacity. So we'll be looking to see what trainings we can coordinate with HCV and the RECD team on that asset management and so forth. So I think that's everything. If I didn't miss anything, okay.
We'll pause right here. Are there any questions?
I just have one question.
Sure.
What's the estimated number of units for first build 2 in Faye Towers?
First build 2, approximately 100 units.
Okay. So between those two first builds, 156. Okay. All right. Thank you.
I had a question. What is the life of the first build project for Gilpin? What is the life extended project of that one?
Okay, that project right now, as the developer and RRHA shared in the materials that you all PowerPoint that was done back in March, that timeline of that is what you're asking. Make sure I'm answering the correct thing. So we're doing planning in 26. We hope to start construction in 27. And we hope that the project, we anticipate that the project will be completed in 28, by the end of 28.
Okay. And is there any amount of tenants that once you do that, I think the land that you are planning to do that on, as today, there's no building on that land, right?
No, these are 21 parcels that are completely vacant.
Okay, completely
So,
vacant.
completely vacant, nothing on what I call Gilpin proper at this time.
Okay.
That's why it's built first, it's off-site. You'll hear those terms used synonymously.
Yes, and the last question, I think, at that meeting, how many affordable housing units are we anticipating? Has that changed or?
No, ma'am. Right now, we're still looking at 14 that are deeply affordable. 14, and then we have another 6 that goes up to that 60% AMI, because these are tax credits.
Right.
And so your 60% is your max. And so we have 6 there. So we were looking at 20, maybe a little more, because we have an additional 25 between 50 and 60. So,
Mhm.
but those are maps. But one
Mhm.
thing we have to keep in mind, one of the goals and principles, HUD principles, but also what we heard from this board is that we don't reconstitute poverty.
Right.
So we do a third, a third, and a third. So we will have
Mhm.
true mixed incomes communities. And
Mhm.
so that's what we do. But there are deeply affordable units.
Okay.
Right.
And then as the transformation begins for the residents to the apartment, will it be specifically geared towards Gilbert residents, or will it be specifically a mixture of public housing residents who meet the qualifications of that first bill?
Okay, so it's a mixture of both. We work with our HCV colleagues, if they're, because this project has these 14 project-based vouchers. So we will be marketing and giving preference, if I'm saying that correctly, Ms. Smothers Hargrove, to Gilpin residents. And then we have to meet the LIHTC requirements, the developer and RRHA. So we start with our project-based vouchers first, and that requirement, and then there is a preference for Gilpin residents for those deeply affordable units. But it's
Okay.
going to be mixed income.
It's going to be
community.
mixed income.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you do start the transformation of this project, there is not anticipating displacement because they're going to have to apply for that.
Yes, ma'am, they apply, and I'm happy. We've been working on this for a while now. So not only what will come out of the collaborative process between RRHA and the city as it relates to a people plan, but we're looking at what we can do right now. And when I get to my report, if
Okay, I'm
that
sorry.
goes on, no, not at all. When we get to that, you will see I'm a firm believer in using what you have, taking what you have and making what you want. We have, as you've heard, an excellent resident service that already has a long list of activities and self-sufficiency programs and services. So we want to use that because we have no CNI money. So we have to, I call it a hybrid people plan.
Okay.
And we use that. But one of the things that we're already starting and doing at Creighton, as well as we will start at Mosby, we have partnered with Southside Community Development Corporation. They are the city's eviction diversion vendor, and they will be on site at Armstrong Renaissance for Mosby Court residents and Creighton Court residents who are behind or owe back rent. So we will continue to do that type of resident support to make sure that everyone can fully participate in the redevelopment process, both off-site and on-site whenever that should occur.
Thank you for that thorough understanding. Back to the chair.
And it's something, I don't know if we want to add this or if it's the appropriate place, you know, while we had the first bill going on Gilpin, similar to, I guess, Armstrong or Creighton Renaissance, where we demolish, you make application, and those vacancies are available to other tenants across our Big Six community. Is that accurate? Anybody? Okay, okay, all right.
Development is going on. Our project-based Mother Hargrove can probably explain it better than I can. But if you are awarded a project-based voucher, you can use that at that new site, or you can use it at all project-based sites. And please correct me if I'm incorrect.
No, ma'am. So project-based voucher, the voucher is tied to the subsidy at that project. So you cannot transfer it. So let's say if you were awarded a PBV at Armstrong Renaissance, you cannot use it at Kingsridge. You cannot use it at Glenwood. You cannot use it at any of the others. However, when funding is available, we have what's called choice mobility. So if you're in good standing and you've been there for 1 full year, you can convert it to a regular housing choice voucher. And then you can choose where to use your voucher, anywhere within the city.
And that's the protected one.
Yes,
that's
same
the-
thing for TPVs.
Okay. Not the one that the PB.
No,
without
so
the
when you
PB.
convert your PBV over, it actually becomes a TBV, a
Okay.
tenant-based voucher, instead of a TPV, which is a tenant protection voucher.
Right.
The TPVs are awarded that when we're doing things like what we're doing over at Creighton, those families, and there's a set aside, there's a different funding source for that.
Yeah.
Those TBVs come out of my baseline program, out of that 40/60, when we convert those over. So that's why we have to have funding available. If we're issuing vouchers, we can convert them over to Choice Mobility.
And we've created a, I call it a cheat sheet that has the three different kind of vouchers on it: HCV, tenant-based, PBV, and tenant protection. So I will make sure, once Mr. Nesmith reviews, that is an information sheet that the board can get once our CEO reviews.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is all my
Yeah, that
questions.
cheat sheet's gonna be very helpful. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, because one question comes to mind, going through the bill first. I'm in good standing, but my credit is not strong enough to go into the first bill. That voucher that I'm holding, if I don't qualify for the first bill, what happens at that point?
I'd like to clear up a misnomer, if I may.
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Okay, so good standing is a number of things, not have really anything to do with your credit,
Okay.
but in good standing to be eligible to get a project-based voucher. So that's your income.
Yes.
All right. Have to be at that 50%. The other thing, you have to have no current lease violations.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I do want to give a caveat. That's why resident supports are so important. And that's what the mayor is saying. Before you start your relocation, provide people the opportunity to get themselves right, to have some case management, to have some referrals for services so they can be ready
Yes.
to fully participate. Now, participation is by choice.
Yes.
Can't drag them there, throw them in the water. But you have to make it available, and that's what we're working on to craft.
Yeah, and that's an integral part of the process.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for taking the time to explain that. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Were you all done, or are you still rolling through?
Got a little bit more, hang with us.
Yes, ma'am.
And so what we will do is many of the things that are included in the progress report and the annual plan are a part of the FY25 accomplishments document that the CEO submitted to the board. He's going to reissue to you guys. So we won't spend a lot of time on that this evening. So we're going to jump past the progress report to capital improvements. And I'm going to kick it over to my colleague, Don Mullins, who's going to talk through this. And I want, before Don starts, I want to, I just want to say that as part of this process, there's a key resident engagement in terms of getting feedback from residents about what we're doing. One of the first things we did was related to capital improvements. One of the things that we do every year is we do a survey of our resident leadership, asking them to identify those capital improvements that they think need to happen on their site. Then Don's team gets together with finance and they roll up their sleeves and try to make some hard decisions about where to place that very limited resource. So I'm going to kick it over to you, Don.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And I do appreciate you saying that is very limited resources. I think everybody at the table here knows that we could use a lot more. But for our capital improvements, our senior sites, I'm proud to say that we have made great progress. As a matter of fact, looking at a sentence, it just seems so insignificant what has transpired over the last year. But we've got 700 South Lombardia is complete, 3,900's moving back in. 1920, we're on the very end of that project, and anticipate 1611 4th Avenue to be complete in February of 27. So that's why I say it seems like, You look at it, it's just a sentence.
You've done a lot.
Yeah.
I remember that first, what was that, 700 Lombardi?
That's right.
Yeah, that, when we did the top floor and
Mhm.
yeah,
Came down.
unveiled it and everything. That's a major accomplishment. And I'm sure it makes their hearts, feel real warm to, oh no, y'all got them coats coming out here real. I apologize, I digress. So that cold coat, I'm like, okay, man, the first one slid through here real cool. But thank you, Doc.
Thank you. And the second part of the capital improvements, as Kim touched on, we do solicit input from the residents and developments as to what their needs are. As you can see, Mosby, Hillside, Gilpin, Whitcomb, Fairfield. It feels so odd not to have Creighton in there anymore, and still has some work left to do at the elderly site 1611 in Stonewall, which is a major elevator modernization. But if you would like for me to go through each development individually, I certainly would if you would like.
I'm going to speak on behalf of the board and say no. I'm looking at you. Are you disappointed? Do you want us to go through it, Mr. Harden? So we're good. You don't have to go through each site.
I certainly can't elaborate.
What we did do, there's an attachment that's the proposed 5-year capital fund plan that's attached to what you have. I think we're there with respect to that, and that'll go out to the public as well. And with that, I think the team is done with our presentation. Key points, highlights for FY27 annual plan.
Thank you. I know we went through it because, time and we're trying to get to other agenda items. But make no mistake about it, there's a lot of work that goes into putting this together, pulling data. And so we're grateful. We're grateful for all of your efforts. And we absolutely want to put that on the record.
We're not done yet. We need you to approve that resolution in early July. But thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So looking at our agenda, have we completed your CEO updates?
Yes, sir. We should be able to move through the committee reports very, very quickly.
Yeah, we've got committee reports up next. We've got our vice chair and chairperson of the real estate committee, Commissioner Parker.
Yes, good evening. I'm going to, in lieu of time, I'm just going to turn that over to Ms. Hampton. She's got a report that she's done some, and she's done a lot of it already, but she might want some other things to share with the committee and the board.
I'm going to be very brief, just to update the board on some upcoming activities that I feel is important, and you all are welcome at any time. Tomorrow night, we have our third Mosby Court South Tenant Council, residents, and the RTO will be in attendance tomorrow night for a formal draft of the Tenant Bill of Rights. We've had 2 to 3 other meetings. Several meetings were canceled due to weather. And so we are working with those residents. So I think it's going to be a high time tomorrow night. With that, we've had good attendance. And then on 4/23, which is next week, we will be doing another Creighton relocation and demolition update meeting over at Creighton.
Okay.
On 4/24, we will entertain or host the CNI stakeholders. This is a virtual meeting for the Gilpin Court, just an update that Mr. Nesmith will give, because that's the large group that came together, and we feel we want to let them know in a respectful way to the city. Nothing has been finalized, but just so they will know that the work continues. And then to hear from the developer on the Bill First project number 1. And then lastly, but not least, one of our first ongoing resident support for Creighton residents and Mosby Court happening on 4/28 at Armstrong Renaissance from 1 to 4:30. We're going to have that eviction diversion clinic. Southside is going to be on site for anyone that has a back balance at Mosby Court South and Creighton. So if they want to come and they want to get in the GREAT program, because Southside is providing funding for that back balance plus one additional month to help them get on their feet. But we will be sending out the requirements and sharing that at the Mosby meeting and the Creighton meeting. So I'm gonna go over those meetings one more time. 4/16 tomorrow night, Mosby Court South at MLK School. 4/23, Creighton relocation and demolition for residents at the rec center on 9 Mile Road. 4/24, virtually, it is the Gilpin Bill First project, an update from Mr. Nesmith and our developer. And then on 4/28, it is the eviction diversion clinic from 1 to 4:30 at Armstrong Renaissance on 4/28. And we are very appreciative for our partners that help us put on these, HCV, LIPH, and communications, and of course, our developers. Thank you, Chair.
Good. Yes, ma'am, you're welcome. I feel the same way. So now that we have new schedule, and I know buildings are just, after hours, they have their HVAC systems with different temperatures, but can we make certain that they understand we may have a room full of people and not,
I'll take care.
Thank you. Next, we have resolutions, Mr. Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. All right, well, we still have a quorum, which is critical. All right, and we'll be going through resolution 2026-15. It's the resolution authorizing the CEO or his designee of RRHA to negotiate and execute job order contracts for all RRHA public housing communities. I'd like to open the floor up for a motion for approval.
So move.
Okay. We have the motion from Mr. Parker and seconded by Mr. Hardeman. Okay. All right. Well, there was a discussion about it earlier, but I'd like to open the floor up for discussion. Okay.
The only thing I'd like to say is it's been years since we've had a jock program, and Steve wasn't around, and a lot of the others weren't around then. But there was a jock program before. It was very effective. A lot of work got done, and I'm so happy to see it back again, and excited about what's going forward, and what Mr. Mullins and others are doing on this project. Thank you so much.
Are there any more questions? Discussion? All right. Let's take a vote, please. Mr. Jackson?
Aye.
Mr. Parker?
Aye.
Ms. Brody?
Aye.
Mr. Hardeman?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. McCray?
Aye.
Ms. Pitchford?
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it. Resolution 2026-15 is approved. All right, let's go on to the RDC resolutions for ratification. Just one. Resolution 2026-03. It is a resolution approving the amendment to the 918 renovation promissory note. I'd like to open the floor up for approval. May I get a motion for approval?
So be it.
All right, Ms. Pitchford. And we got seconded by Ms. McCray. Okay. Like to open the floor for discussion. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, the updated scope of work is blank. Just curious what the additional $300,000 for.
Yes, so good evening, Commissioners and Commissioner Hardeman. And I apologize, that is an oversight. It was originally attached. So as most of you all know, the bulk of the work has been completed at 918. Fatima and her staff have moved into the building. But upon reentry, we've discovered some small issues. One is the roof. So the roof will need to be completely replaced. That put the scope of work over the $1 million, not to exceed. There's also some safety features that they want to incorporate into the building, as well as ADA compliance, ensuring that the curbs meet ADA standards and accessibility for participants and staff. So,
Thank you. My only other question would be, shouldn't there be corresponding resolutions on behalf of RRHA for the execution of this and also the amendment to the contract?
I'm sorry, there's no amendment to the contract. These are like separate contracts, like we get a roofing contract and it's under 200,000, so we don't have to get board approval for that. Yeah.
Is there any more discussion? Mr. Hardeman, do you have any more questions or anything? Okay. All right, well, let's open the floor for approval. Mr. Jackson?
Aye.
Mr. Parker?
Aye.
Ms. Brody?
Aye.
Mr. Hardeman?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. McCray?
Aye.
Ms. Pitchford?
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it. The resolution is ratified. Thank you.
That's it.
Mr. Chair, I do think that there is a need to go into closed meeting. I do apologize, Ms. Pitchford, but there is a need. We do have a quorum.
Are you okay?
I gotta make a
Okay. Okay. All right, well, we won't take a vote yet until all the commissioners come back into the room. Take a short break. Thank you.
right, so we're getting prepared for closed session.
All right, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I move that we go into closed meeting to consult with legal counsel and staff about actual litigation involving a federal class action lawsuit that, if briefed in an open meeting, would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of RRHA as permitted by Section 2.2, 3711A7 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. May I get a motion for approval, please?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Parker, seconded by Ms. Pitchford. Okay, let's go with roll call. Mr. Jackson?
Aye.
Ms. Pitchford?
Aye.
Ms. Brody?
Aye.
Mr. Hardeman?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. McCray?
Aye.
And Mr. Parker?
Aye.
All right. The ayes have it. We're in closed meeting. Thank you.
Who do we have? We have our two attorneys from representing us. How you doing, John?
Doing well, sir. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. We're gonna finish clearing the board of virtual guests so that we only have who should be authorized to be joining us during this session. While our executive assistant, our Stevens boss, is clearing the board, Stephen, would you like to introduce?
Yes. So let me get back in.
Yes, ma'am.
Just 1 second. Remove Kevin.
Okay.
All right, you can
Is
proceed.
Ms. Brody? Oh, she's still there. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
This conference will now be recorded.
Sure.
All right.
A briefing on that matter.
Right now, I'd like to read the certification of closed meeting. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of RRHA convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. Whereas Section 2.23712D of the Code of Virginia of 1950 as amended requires certification by the board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies. And two, only such business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the board. May I have a motion for approval, please?
So moved. No.
Okay, Ms. Pitchford,
Second.
and seconded by Mr. Parker. All right. Roll call now. Ms. Brody?
I think she's gone.
Okay, Ms. Brody is gone. Okay. All right. Mr. Hardeman?
Aye.
Mr. Jackson?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
All right. Ms. McCray?
Aye.
Mr. Parker?
Aye.
Ms. Pitchford?
Aye.
All right. The ayes have it. We're at a closed meeting. Thank you.
All right, that being the case, everyone drive home safely. It's been a great meeting, and this meeting is now adjourned.